So last time we talked about my 6 software piano instruments that I use, that I have in my library. And so I thought it would be good to do an overview, not an exhaustive one, but a brief overview of all the instruments. Starting with the Maverick, which we'll jump into it right now. Now the Maverick is a unique instrument. It's a recreation of a grand piano made in 1905 as a gift to the Prince of Prussia. And so it has a more intimate sound, and yet it's very rich, as one would expect as a princely gift. And so let's take a listen to it now. As you can see, it has the very old, rich tone. As I played a couple grand pianos that are about that age, and they just have that sound to them, right? And so it fits into many genres. Now there's some tweaks you can do it with tones and stuff, as I won't get into, as that's a more in-depth thing. But I can show you briefly. We have the anatomy section, right? And I have, of course, all the noises turned on. For me, it's all about the noise. I like the sound of the hammers and the strings. Makes me feel like I'm sitting right in front of the piano. And then we have the tone shaping section, and the only thing I have turned on right now is the compressor, as I will have on all the pianos following. And then we have the space. We could put it in a hall or something like that, and just shape the tone even further. And it's a beautiful thing. Now, the next piano that we have in my library is the Gentleman. Now, the Gentleman comes in a little bit younger than the Maverick. It was made in 1908. And the unique thing about the Gentleman is that it has survived with all of its original components, which means it has that sound, that character, which we will hear right now. Just that wonderful tone that I've had the privilege of playing an upright grand, which I believe was probably about that age, if not, probably not older. It was at least that age, probably a bit younger. But the low notes, as you can hear here, so it's an upright grand, as you can see from the height of it there. Very clean throughout. Now, it has the same settings in the anatomy, and of course have all the hammer, string, pedal, and damper noises on, and overtones, and once again the compressor, and you can also put it in a space, just like the other instruments, as I bump my microphone there. moving on from the Gentleman, we have the Grandeur. And the Grandeur, rounding out the definitive piano collection, is a concert grand. They don't tell us exactly which concert grand, to my knowledge, but this one is a workhorse. It has a singing tone, it's clear, and it just fits with other instruments and even by itself as a solo instrument. Just hear the wood of the piano, the richness of the tone. I love it. It's clear. Sparkly. Singing. Well, it doesn't really... Does it sparkle? That's an uncertain sound to add. But you can hear just how it's like the experience of... It's just very emotional for me. That's all I can say about that. And exactly the feel for me of being in front of a piano of this caliber. Just like the other instruments in the definitive piano collection, it has the same control features. And really, I think just endless tweakability. I don't know if that's a word, but I've just used it now to adjust the sounds, and as you can hear, it's still ringing. Now for me, I used to sit in front of my piano and listen and just hear it ring out until I couldn't hear it anymore, and that's the feel I get from this. Okay, so now we move on to another piano. And this is one of the standalone pianos, and this is the Giant. Now, the Giant is unique in that it is a modern piano. In fact, it's the tallest upright grand. I'm calling it an upright grand. It's the tallest upright piano, and it was built and designed by David Clavins, a piano maker, builder. As you can see, it's quite unique. It's built into a wall. Now, the one I saw in the actual picture was built against a solid wall. This one appears to be built against a glass wall in a skyscraper, which is, not that important. It's just interesting. It's 12 feet tall, like I said, and you have to climb up a set of steps and sort of sit on this platform that's up off the floor ways to play it. And the maximum string length on this piano is 9 feet long, which is the length of most concert grand pianos. So if you can imagine, the string as long as a piano. And it just has a rich and very different tone, right? It's not quite like the others. I'm going to give it a bit of volume to match, and we'll listen here. has a bit of more growl to it as I see it in the lower notes, like here. Now, of course, I have the XXL feature turned on. I'm going to turn that off. So growl. To give you an example, now the Grandeur is going to sound a little bit more intimate, but here we go. Okay, let that sink in, and then we'll go back to the Giant. Of course, the Grandeur had the enhancements on, so I'm going to turn this one's enhancements. Just a rich, rich tone. And this piano is good for, well, whatever you want. It's got that richness of tone, and just the sympathetic resonance is one thing they say is key in this one. With those long strings, they just vibrate with everything else. And now, one of the other features of the Giant is that it has a cinematic instrument, which I won't get into here because this is not an exhaustive review, but with a bunch of sampled sounds from the Giant, which you can use to your heart's content. So that's a Giant. Now we move on to another piano by David Clavins, or David Clavins, as he's called by the commissioner of this instrument, Niels Fram. Niels Fram is a pianist and composer, and he commissioned this piano, which is unique in the sense that it has one string per key. Now, most pianos, if you know about pianos, if you look on the inside, they have 2 and up to 3 strings in the higher keys as you go up towards the top of the keyboard, and to produce those tones. Now, this one, just 1 per key, and so it has a very unique sound. And you can hear, I would say the wood, but as you can see, there's no wood around the piano itself. It's just kind of exposed there, which was something Niels requested. He likes to see the mechanics of the piano, and I think it makes it very unique. And it doesn't sound like anything else. I would compare it to a harp, but that's not quite right because it's a hammer. Very pure sound, I would say, that this has. Not to mention, I'm using the pure version of it. Now, it also has some tweakability. We have the mechanical sounds in here. It's laid out a little bit differently, with the addition of some fabrics that you can put in between the hammers, which they actually did. They have an insert you can put in. Let's look at them here. We got cotton, silk, curtain, felt, leather, and pleather. Apparently they give a different sound depending on which which material you have in between the hammers and the strings of the piano, which once again, since this is not a full review, we won't get into that, but it's something that's really interesting about this piano. And then last, and certainly not least, we have Noire. Now, Noire, I will confess, is one of my favorites out of these. They're all very good, and I just feel the specialness of each one as I play. This one is another collaboration with Nils Fram, this time with Yamaha. Now, he didn't commission this from Yamaha. It was a CFX grand piano that he liked the character of, and then went on to make certain modifications, including, but not limited to, insert of felt in between the hammers and the strings, kind of like on the Corda. And this one, it just has a very, very... It's sort of a darker mellow tone, as you'll see. So again, it has the clarity, and this one just has a certain warmth. Now, I have a compressor on it, not the stock compressor that you'll find in here. I'm actually using a bit of the supercharger, which is an EQ made by Native Instruments as well. And all of these are Native Instruments, as I realized I didn't mention at the beginning, but all of these pianos are Native Instruments. And there's just that feel of being in front of a real piano, which I really appreciate. Every time I go to play these instruments, I just feel like I'm at a real piano, and I get to experience that feeling of warmth and emotion, which allows me to express in a very realistic way. Well, this has been a brief overview of my 6 piano instruments in my library. Let me know if you have these software pianos, what your favorite features are and why. And hey, if you have any other software pianos that you enjoy, let me know what they are and why in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you in another video.